Welcome to the Kindness Podcast live. I am really happy to be able to introduce you to someone today who is doing what I think is just like, if you can do this, then you've got life down. And what is the this? It's the finding your passion and using it to help other people. And Soho Johnny is in New York City. He joins us right now. Let me grab him. There he is. Hello. Nice to see you, Johnny.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me on the show today.
It is my absolute pleasure to have you here today because you are one of those guys that somehow or another has managed to either intentionally or not, maybe accidentally, kind of fall into what you're doing, your passion to help other people. And I'm really excited about that. And so let's start there. We're going to talk about the Let Me Help Foundation, but would you say in your entire life, all of these things have always led to helping other people? Was that by accident or was that by design?
Well, it's funny. Great question. I think as we get older, we kind of rediscover what we really were all about at earlier points in our life. Okay. And I was a stuttering, nervous kid brought up in the Boogie Down Bronx, probably one of the biggest melting pots in the United States in New York City back in the day. But even from that time, I used to entertain the class with practical jokes, and I used to get in trouble all the time. But, just have that umbilical cord that artists have and just making people smile. So it kind of originated there. And then, my parents eventually got a house in the Bronx, and there was a garage in the back, and I had this reputation. And my friends and people from the area would come to this garage, and I'd have rock music, which is now classic rock music, strobe lights and everything. So I just loved that seed of entertainment. But just to speak to your question about, that connection with the audience and everything, I'm the accidental tourist. Okay. In doing that, I kept kind of didn't know, what I was doing. I worked for a family business back in Soho, which is why I got the nickname Soho Johnny. And then my entertainment platform, of course, is sohojohnny.com. But, I just kind of, it just was that connection with the audience and just the smiles that always propelled me going forward. And then just fast forward from that, I started doing get-togethers, family reunions, and I kind of loved it. And I was a DJ when disco came out, and loved the music, very, very passionate. And then, my dad died 26 years ago, give or take, to cancer. And that kind of was the aha moment for me, because I said, I just got to do something about this a little bit and make myself feel better. Of course, we all, especially during these times, people are going through so much. And I started doing events, and I started tying them to American Cancer Society, which is very, very near and dear. My dad, I lost him to cancer and to many other people. It affects all of us in some manner, shape, or form. And that was the aha moment. That was the trifecta, combining the passion of performing myself from an artist, or the deliverance, and then with the love I've gotten and support of so many people along the way, I ended up building this entertainment platform called Soho Johnny. And believe me, it's not about me taking credit for it. A lot of the shows I do to raise money, I owe it all to the people, the artists that donate time or have supported me, or, my team around me. They deserve all the credit. I'm just that little Mack truck figure on top of the hood of that Mack truck, but all the horsepower is the people behind me that I owe all the credit.
Wow, that's humble of you to say. I know, though, what it takes. I'm sure there's this effort again and again and again to not grow weary of helping others. And so not only you have Soho Johnny, but now you've expanded that into Let Me Help, the Let Me Help Foundation. What is that? Tell us about that.
Well, very much akin to what I just described with my dad. I would share this with the audience and listeners that I lost my mom to COVID last year. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was very blessed. She lived to 93 years old. I was blessed to have her that long. But of course, it was unfortunate. She had more time due her. But of course, this disease, like so many people, have been affected or have lost loved ones, of course, and just in the same situation. Was thinking about doing a foundation. Now, for those of the audience that may not know, the difference between a foundation and a charity is a foundation could be a conduit to give to different charitable purposes or to different charities. For instance, I could do a show for and give money to muscular dystrophy. The next one could be for cancer. The next one could be for cerebral palsy. And I thought that was an excellent platform. And I had that gestating slowly. But when I lost my mom, I says, you know what? Let me take this off the shelf and just ramp it up. And I was very fortunate. I did a very successful show back around Thanksgiving of last year in 2020. And I had artists, thanks to my team, either allowing appearances, allowing footage, or shouts outs or performances from all over the world, all different genres of music and entertainment. People like Ozzy Osbourne, Patrick Stewart, Cedric the Entertainer, C.C. Pennison, Rick Wakeman, John Lodge from the Moody Blues, B-52s, Fred Schneider, and the list goes on. I got a whole long list here, but and the amount of love that you get from doing these things redefined what I've always heard my whole life, that when you give is when you really receive. That really took on a new meaning for me. And during these times, social distancing, I say, is not social isolation. It's actually the opposite. Now's the time that we need to maintain outreach and connectivity and keep people's spirits uplifted. Things are getting better. We're going to get through it. We will prevail as we always do. I'm a firm believer. I'm a glass half full type of guy of the human and ethics of the human spirit. I did a comic book, Mandate for Humanity, ironically, before the pandemic, and it was kind of about this Soho Johnny, my alter ego character, going around trying to bring spirits up for this kind of like pandemic. We weren't talking about the pandemic in this pandemic-driven world, and I get powers from the three people in the entertainment business. My buddy Scott Page from Pink Floyd, Howard Bloom. We all know him, famous PR guy, and Monty Rock III, because I love classic disco. He was the DJ in Saturday Night Live. Not Saturday Night Fever, and he did that song "Get Dancing." So listen, I ended up involved with this entertainment platform. But to answer your question, I'm just like I wasn't even driving the bus back then, but I'm very blessed that I ended up where I am right now, and it just puts wind to my sails every day.
Yeah. You know what I think is really interesting? I'm going to go way, way, way back with you, Johnny. And that is, I think you were maybe in like 6th grade or something, but the Bronx was not, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it's like now, but the Bronx at that point was not like, let's all, play outside on the sidewalks with our kids. And, like it was kind of tough territory, right?
Well, sure. I mean, in those days, there was a lot of gangs on the street, and I had a duality. I was kind of always cramming to get that A. I went to my parents put me in a parochial school. I was a nervous kid, but on the other hand, in order to go back and forth to school, I had to wear colors. Not that I was a tough guy, I was a coward, but I would get back and forth from school back in those days. So yeah, it was different. And that's kind of what, the other parents of all the kids that would come in grammar school and even my early high school days, they'd come to that garage in the back. We were there, we were hanging out, but they were glad that they were there, even the other families, that their kids were there, because they were off the streets back in those times. So yes, that's very, very true.
Yeah, I feel like you created something really special and safe in that moment that before it became cool, right? Before it became like, okay, let's create a special teen club or whatever. Like you were the original teen club.
I guess so, but it's just kind of natural. I mean, I'm a performer myself, and I'm recording some music and everything, and I've been blessed to have those invitations, and co-producing some movies, and it's just amazing how this all just came to me. All of a sudden, I found this was always inside you. People ask like for me to give them advice and everything, and I say, drive the bus of your life. Don't be follow that passion. Listen, there's always a time for business, the 9-to-5 job. You got to do it to put food on the table for your families and everything. But remember to try and tie it to some nobleness of purpose and connectivity with people, and but also follow your passion. Try to do something in some manner, shape, or form. Make that part of your life.
So when you're working with all of these big names, celebrities, do you find that there's a generosity of spirit or connectivity, or is it ego driven, or is it a little bit of both?
Listen, everybody has, they come with their own set of goods. Okay. I usually consider, double celebrities, if I could say that, in fact, are the ones that give back in some nature. There's some great people out there that have, just found it, found their way like I did, and they give back. I mean, look at the people that came on my show. Nobody got paid for doing that. They just came to say, "Hey, I raised money for prostate cancer. I raised money for. I mean, not I mean, they did. Okay, for prostate cancer, COVID, getting meals to COVID families or people that were sick, whatever, through Department of Aging's in Yonkers, and the last one was anti-bullying mandate through a part of one. It was a 6-hour show, and that was 1 hour was produced by another talented guy, Andrew Cole. Hashtag I am no joke, anti-bullying, and that was. But it's all the credit all goes to them. So yes, are there egos involved? Listen, I think there's a little ego in everybody, and there's the good part of it, and there's the bad part of it, if you want to say bad. But it's good to have a good, healthy ego as long as it's tied with tied with humanity, and grounded. I think that's good, and that's part of, what people love that connection. People, it resonates. I noticed, the love I've gotten from people, cancer survivors that have approached me. I mean, you can't put a value on that, and those are the things that will elevate us at the end of our life. Money is just a tool. This is the thing that really counts.
Will you talk a little bit about going? Oh, I'm hearing myself. You hear that?
No, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sarah, do you hear that? And Sarah in. Hey, Sarah.
Hi.
Yes, I can hear an echo.
Okay.
Something just changed.
Well, maybe I'll lower my volume here. Is it me? Is that a little bit better?
Johnny.
I'm here. Do you hear me?
I'm here too.
Okay.
I think we're good. Nope, I can hear me twice. Okay, well that means you need to talk more. Will you tell me about a favorite kindness story?
My favorite kind of story?
Kindness.
Oh, the kindness story. Oh, by the way, I love the name of your show, Kindness. I think it's great. Kindness it could be something as simple as putting a smile on an elderly lady's face when you walk down the street, or it could be something that you take more of an active role and volunteer in your time. And this is important to remember. We are all role models to each other. It doesn't matter what you have or don't you have, no matter in what humble sense that you could do something. Try to put people in a better frame of mind. Okay? You could go about your life, still do what you got to do, and it kind of puts you in a better frame of mind. So if everybody could just wake up, if all your listeners that are listening right now could just have that understanding that every day is a blessing and a gift. Okay, we have to be thankful. There's people less fortunate than us. I mean, I think about that every day. Okay, because tomorrow is promised to nobody, and I'm thankful, and I try to show my appreciation just by putting some good out there. Again, it's not about me. This is just my philosophy that I like to share with people, and I'm very, very thankful. And it just, it's just like a moth to the flame. You attract like-minded people when you do this, and that's kind of what has created this whole thing, thing that's happening here. I mean, I've got so many things going on. My head is spinning, but I'm blessed to be able to be there.
Was it the loss of your parents, first your father, then your mother, that made you look at things like that? When
I was being brought up, people would always say, as long as you have your health, you have everything. And, time is the most precious commodity, and that's all true. But yes, I think, when you get that when you're catapulted or jarred in a direction and you lose significant people, certainly your parents, for me, I mean, I was blessed. My dad was a poor guy. He came, his father came from Europe here, a poor immigrant, and he lived through the Depression. And, he was a humble guy, and he had a trucking business. He ended up with his brothers. He was a very, very humble guy. And I say that I got my humanity, my humility from him. And from my mom, who always used to play music back in the day. And she was a little bit getting involved with entertainment. I owe her my sense of entertainment and music. And, so they definitely were inspirations for me. And losing them kind of, I try to channel grief and everything. We go through emotions, we go through stages, okay, when you have a loss. And it doesn't have to actually be a death. It could be breakup of a relationship or anything, or losing an animal, a pet, right? But you go through those things, and that's a form of energy. So it's important that you go through those steps because that's how we heal, that's how we get by, that's how we go forward. But certainly, the understanding what it is and channeling that energy in a positive way is what helped me feel better, okay, to try to touch other people in their memory and everyone else that's affected because we all go, this is not meant to be paradise where we're living right now on this earth.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to let you go in just a moment, but first I want to know from you, what do you want from us? What can we collectively do to support Soho Johnny and to support Let Me Help?
Well, letmehelpinc.org, info@letmehelpinc.org for those people who have any suggestions for the foundation. SohoJohnny.com has a mailing list. We're on Instagram and all the usual suspects, YouTube and everything. Have people help me with social media. But just a shout out to you and your show for what you're doing because you're keeping the line on too during these times. And I think that's so important. So I just want to tap my hand out for you, Nicole, what you're doing and your team here for your show, and thank you for it because you're already doing it, and that's it's all about us just working together because things are getting better, I promise. And I've got so many exciting things, projects in Soho Johnny for the listeners. Please, check out whatever it is and let me help. And we've got an artist that we represent, Anna Mazex, and we had them through my mentor, John Valesco. They're going to be helping a blind kids camp, okay, which was suffering during COVID because they affected everybody, even all these other good causes got hurt, like economically. Blind kids camp as well, called Camp Marcella, and they're going to be performing for them, doing a show as well. So it's those type of things, those feel good things. I mean, come on, it's blind children's camp. I mean, how could it hit me right here?
Right,
So,
right. It's just everyone goes, oh, right? Like so kind, so kind. Okay, so everybody needs to follow you so they can find out all of the cool things that you're doing that you've got coming up. Thank you so much, Johnny, for talking with us today and sharing a little bit about letmehelpinc.org.
Thank you so much, Nicole.
All
God
right.
bless.
God
Every
bless.
day's a blessing and a gift. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, it is.